to welcome Dr. Munazza Zahra, Women University of Azad, Jammu and Kashmir, Pakistan. Dr. Munazza Zahra is an accomplished academic and researcher who's currently serving as an assistant professor in the Department of Economics and Management Sciences at the Women University of Azad, Jammu and Kashmir, Bagh, Pakistan. She earned a PhD in Human Resources Management from Universiti Sains Malaysia in 2021 and has an extensive background in teaching subjects such as business communication, strategic management, supply chain management, career development and management, and international business. Dr. Zahra is a prolific researcher with numerous publications in national and international journals. She has presented her work at various international conferences, earning accolades for Best Paper and Best Presenter. A lifetime member of the AIBPM Malaysian chapter, she also has been a keynote speaker at prestigious international events. Her contributions to academia and research reflect her dedication to fostering knowledge, innovation, and global academic engagement. Welcome, Dr. Munazza. The time is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you, moderator Sandeep, for a warm welcome. Let me share my slide. So, I think I have to... Okay. Good morning from my side because it's early. It's almost 8 a.m. in Pakistan right now. But thank you for inviting me as a keynote speaker to the 5th WIMAYA International Conference. It's an honor and privilege. The topic has some very interesting ideas. It's from green economy to smart management and then integrating AI and technology and accounting for sustainable growth. So moving forward, because this presentation is still in progress, I can't move my slides. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yeah, but my slides are stuck.
Can you stop sharing and reshare again? Sometimes that works.
Maybe. Can you do it in this way?
Yes, we can see your slides. Yes.
Okay. So the agenda for today is we will talk about what this concept is about, the main theme of the international conference, then the key highlights. Also, we have invested some time in our case studies. This is actually from tourism department, and one of my colleagues is also working on these studies. So we have also collected some comparative studies from global, including Thailand and Iceland and then New Zealand. And we will talk about some risks and solution and also future trend and recommendation, also with some practical suggestions. So about green economy, we have talked about it for the last 5 years, maybe, advancing low carbon, circular and responsible models of development and also promoting environmental balance and sustainable resource management. For smart management integration, it's always about artificial intelligence and digital tools and data-driven decision-making, also enabling smarter organizations, resilient system, and innovative leadership. In third, the concept of this international conference is about technology and accounting for sustainability. Not only just about sustainability, but now accounting also matters. So transforming accounting practices with ESG, as our prestigious colleague has just talked about, economical, social, and governance, reporting also carbon accounting and financial transparency. So the bridging digital transformation with sustainable governments. For key highlights, we have some case studies from Pakistan. The main three case studies are from Hunza, which is one of the best tourism destination of Pakistan. Then we have some Instagram and influencer-driven domestic tourism. Also, tourism disruptions by climate hazards. Then for global case studies, we have case studies from Thailand, which is Maya Bay, which was closed in 2018 due to over-tourism. And then we have Iceland digital tourism campaigns, and then New Zealand, Taki Promise and regenerative tourism. For key challenges, we have always talked about in tourism that yes, tourism is good, but over tourism is bad. So declining trust in influencer, climate vulnerability, and dependence on social media hype. For recommendation and future trends, we will talk about AI powered personalization, regenerative community led tourism, stricter influencer regulations, climate resilient tourism planning, and authentic experiential and micro travel demands. Or Hunza and Gilgit. Have you ever been to Gilgit-Baltistan? It is one of the best tourism spot for tourists all around the world. So for local communities, um, it has been one of the best places which have been developed by their local communities due to handicrafts and research, and they have engines their rural development with some of the best practices like homestays and guiding. So increased tourism has improved income and infrastructure and women participation in small enterprises. If you have been to Hunza, you will see women driving everything. Even women are in construction businesses. So they are, because they have been very an organized community. That's why the tourism has improved income, infrastructure, and women participation in small enterprises. Also, it has rapid growth now strains has vast waste management, water availability, and fragile mountain ecosystems. If you have ever seen those mountain ranges like Himalaya, Karakoram, these ranges have very mass mountains, like you have ever heard about K2. So these changes have very fragile mountain ecosystems, and over tourism has damaged these systems also. Then the second case study was about Instagram and influencer-driven domestic tourism. Pakistani travelers now discover destination primarily through Instagram handles and TikTok accounts. So there are some micro and mid-level influencers. We call micro-level influencers who have a fan following of about 10K to 100K, and then mid-level is above 100K. So they have affect perceptions of safety, beauty, and accessibility because they normally used to float their content with heavy, overly edited, and commercially sponsored posts and create unrealistic expectations and mislead visitors. The third case studies that we selected is tourism disruption by climate hazards. For the last few years, we have seen floods, glacier lake outburst floods, and landslides and heat waves and affecting our northern tourism hub, which consists of Sawat, Kalam, Naran, and then some part of GB like Skardu, Gilgit, and Hunza. So seasons are becoming unpredictable, and some popular sites face safety risks. Like a few years back in Murray, there was an incident in which hundreds of people were stuck in snowfall just to see what is happening in Murray. Then in case studies that we selected from Google, which are also based on tourism, is Maya Bay, Thailand, which was one of the beautiful bay in Thailand. Authorities closed it indefinitely 2018 to allow ecological recovery, implemented visitor limits and restoration work, and cautiously reopened with strict controls. This highlights how short-term popularity driven by media and influencer can destroy the asset that created the popularity, and how policy-led closures and rehabilitations can be needed. Then the second case study is about inspired by Iceland. Inspired by Iceland is an example of creative and digitally driven destination marketing that scaled reach while also building a content hub for ongoing engagement. It shows how smart of use of digital content and partnership can convert global attention into sustainable visits and sustainable tourism. Then the third case study is about New Zealand. It was about Tyaki Promise. This was about 100% pure New Zealand. A government and industry attempt to embed stewardship into traveler behavior. More recent academic work pushes from sustainability to regenerative tourism, focusing on restoring systems rather than only minimizing harm. When we talk about risks and solutions, there are three main categories. The first one that we already talked about, that it's over tourism. There are few studies that we collected, and there was some research data that was gathered from different journals and also from different publications that were collected in 2024 and 2022 and 2025. In 2024, GB saw, which is Gilgit-Baltistan, it saw 986,000 domestic tourists and 16,000 foreign tourists, and this was taken from Hunza Post, which also gives some tourism information. In another study which was collected in 2019, the respondents said that 39% of local Hunza reported high generation of solid waste and 21% reported water pollution. Directly, it has been taken from journals from Paradigms. And also, it has mentioned that microbial waste tests detected Salmonella typhi, E. coli, and Enterobacter in tourism area water resources. It has also been taken from Paradigm Journal. In one of the study, it mentioned that 87% of villagers and 98% of business owners said tourism provides seasonal employment, guiding hospitality, handicrafts. And in 2025, tourism dropped 90% in GB due to climate disasters and conflicts. Only 270 foreign climbers compared to 2,000 previously. And then glacier risk. GB has over 7,000 glaciers, and some glacier lakes are at risk of outburst floods. It has been also mentioned in Pakistan Today, one of the leading newspapers of Pakistan. And this study was also published in Paradigm. Then for over-tourism and climate risk in GB, which is Gilgit-Baltistan, according to an opinion piece in 2022, 2 million tourists visited GB, surpassing the region's population of 1.7 million. The over-tourism has become this much that they have surpassed the regional population of people. There are 3,044 glacier lakes recorded in Gilgit-Baltistan and KP province, which is Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and 33 identified as high risks of burst floods. Then there is a study which mentioned daily tourist traffic contributes to pollution. Weak waste systems and poor water infrastructure aggravate water scarcity and environmental degradation in Pakistan. For about misleading trust and misleading influencers. Influencer move people, but the trust signal is fragile. Disclosures and authenticity. There are concerns about inaccurate expectations and safety perceptions. Also, if we talk about solution, require transparent disclosure, prefer long-term ambassador relationships over one-off paid posts, and verify influencer provenance. It is a dire need to check and balance what they are portraying and what the content they are sharing on their social media handles. Also, the third risks is climate risk to tourism supply that we already have mentioned that there are 36 lakes considered high risks. And there are some glacier outbursts or floods. Have you ever introduced avalanche? Have you ever seen about it? Then there are so many cases of avalanche in GB for the past 2 or 3 years. Solution is train tour guides to communicate ecological risks, build more formal waste disposal and recycling facilities. Now, the future depends on three different pillars. The first one is responsibility. When you are growing and you have a tourism spot, then it must be ethical resource use. You have to know that what are ethical practices, and if we are traveling somewhere and we are visiting some place which has some attraction and tourists used to enjoy their spots, then there are some community center developments also. Transparency in reporting is also needed. In technological part, AI is needed. You have to make some applications about the entrance and exit of the tourists, also how much they stayed, how much they have thrown the garbage or litter. Then IoT, Internet of Things, and digital twins also can help in technological advancements. Smart accounting systems are also needed, and data-driven governance is also needed. For sustainability point of view, green energies are now the call of the day also. Climate resilience is needed. Long-term environmental protection programs and policies are needed. So these three pillars, responsibility, technology, and sustainability together create growth that is both competitive and future-proof. For future trends, we have identified five basic trends. AI power personalizations. You must know that you have some applications that can plan the travel of the tourists. Also, personalized itineraries are required. Dynamic pricing is required, and hyper-targeted content is also need to be identified and then justified. AI generated videos and influencers like avatars will rise in future. Also, regenerative and community led tourism. Moving beyond sustainability toward restoration and community benefit sharing. I have already talked about Hunza, which have very strong community development. The people from Hunza used to guide tourists, and then they also used to train them about ecological perspectives and risks concerned in economy. For the third trend, it was stricter influencer regulations. Those who used to share content from their social media handles should we should follow the transparency rules, disclosure requirements, and authenticity checks becoming mandatory worldwide. Climate resilient tourism planning, early warning systems, insurance, infrastructure upgradations, and diversification of tourism seasons is also required. For the fifth trend, it should be authentic, experiential, and micro travel demand. Slow travel, cultural immersion, and micro influencer gaining trust over celebrities. So we have to look on the content, and we have to be very vigilant about whom to share and whom to follow. So countries who invest in both climate resilient and innovation are the ones experiencing stable and long-term economic growth. Those who ignore either side risk falling behind. So AI is not an option, it's a necessity these days. You have to be smart in management different tourism spots. So there are some practical suggestions that we have identified from these three case studies from Pakistan, and then three case studies from globally that we collected. Waste management infrastructure, implement leave no trace policies for tourists, especially for non-biodegradable source. Also, encourage community-based led cleanup campaigns, involve local youth and tourism businesses. There are some initiatives that have taken been tourism department also from the government of Hunza and Gilgit-Baltistan, but still more such campaigns and community-led programs are needed. Then environmental education for tourists and locals. Look, signage are public signals that you have to place every spot and every place where you see that there are tourists, those are entering on that spots. Then there are visitor centers and mobile apps to teach about fragile ecosystems. Like there are glacier zones, and then there are floody zones. Offer sustainable tourism certifications to those guest houses or hotels that follow green practices. And there are some initiatives that have already been taken to give them sustainable tourism certifications to different hotels and different guest houses in Gilgit-Baltistan. Then regulate tourist flow. Introduce limits in sensitive areas. You have to be very cautious about over tourism. Seasons to reduce peak tourism, tourist pressure. You have to create such content that can highlight the beauty of that tourist spot in every season, not only just in peak season. Use a permit system for certain high-risk zones such as remote valleys and glacier lakes. And then you have to encourage off-peak tourism to spread the load. This is also very necessary step to reduce the over-tourism. Also, strengthen local capacity and governance. Empower local government and community groups to manage tourism sustainability. Also, collaboration between tourism department, local communities, and NGOs to set the rules. Invest in local infrastructure like the roads, in energy and water that is climate resilient. We have seen some such resources and infrastructure in Unza, also in Skardu, that they use some mini projects to generate their own energy. Then climate risk mitigation, promote alternative livelihoods in non-tourism seasons. For example, sustainable agriculture crafts, encourage use of clean energy, solar, micro, hydro. Solar energy has been drastically improved in Pakistan these days. Almost 70% of the large cities are using solar systems to generate energy. In hotels and tourist accommodations, also health and safety measures. Regular monitoring of water quality in tourist spots, publicize water safety guidelines, and improve sanitation facilities in remote areas. There are some eco toilets also, but some more are still needed in some of the parts of the country. There are some facts and figures that we collected from Maya Bay, Thailand. The bay was once seeing as many as 5,000 visitors per day and 200 boats. It has been published in one of the leading journal. At the time of its closure in 2018, it is estimated that 80% of coral was destroyed. When reopened after restoration, the visitor number was cut to around 375 people per hour across time slots, and then swimming in the bay is now banned. Also, boats must dock at nearby rather than anchor on reefs. So there are some practical suggestions that they have implemented, and we can also, the case studies that we collected from Pakistan, they can also implement such cut-offs and tourist restrictions. Then there are the case study that was taken from Iceland. Iceland digital campaigns like Inspired by Iceland. They have a digital campaign known as Inspired by Iceland, significantly increased global tourism via creative, socially shared content. Although exact number stats vary, the campaign is widely credited for boosting tourism engagement. Tourism in Iceland has in past years contributed heavily to GDP, and digital content played a major role in scaling both reach and volume of arrivals. Then the third case study, the Tyaki promise that we already discussed, encourages travelers to take care of the land, people, and place, which Tyaki means to care for. New Zealand has explicitly moved from sustainable tourism to regenerative tourism, meaning it's not just minimizing harm, but restoring and giving back to nature and communities. This trend is validated in academic and policy documents too. So we can also take them as our example, and we can also implement such necessary steps in such a situation where we are facing these days in Hunza, and then the influencers also. So I will end up my presentation with a quotation by Dr. McPherson. If you really think the economy is more important than the environment, then try holding your breath whilst you count your money. That's the call of the day. That's all from my side. My email ID has been mentioned. If you have any queries, because this research is still under process, so we can share more information in near future. Thank you so much. Thank you. I will hand over the stage to the moderator.